I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully is disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, them. And I'ma tell them where I'm at. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state. And of course, as always, I'm upset.
Yeah. Wolverine Nation, welcome to another episode of M&M Mondays. It's your boy, the Maniac, along with...
Kinetic.
You know, it just always gonna make me laugh, man. Kinetic. But I like it, though. It's original, it's smooth. You're a player, Kinetic. You're a player. But anyway, my brother, how you feeling this Monday?
I'm feeling good. I'm really enjoying the recruiting process, early National Signing Day, portal. I think since we landed and flipped Bryce Underwood, it's been all good, man. Just looking towards next year. For those in the chat, Madman is going to be here. He's running a little bit late. He'll be here soon.
Yeah.
What about you though, man? How are you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling great. Whenever you're a Wolverine fan, Michigan, it's always a great day, man. Especially when you end the season, man, and with a win over Ohio. Who's that? Mello, Super Chat, OH. Oh no, shout to Mello. That's he's one of the very few reasonable Buckeyes out there. That is a dear friend of mine. Shout to him. Thank you for the Super Chat, Mello. We appreciate you. He also has a show himself, man. The Buckeye Boys, good channel. They had me and Madman on a couple of weeks ago. And shout to Mello and Dev, man. They really got things cooking over there. But Kinetic, you talking about recruiting, right? I'm glad you brought that up because we just landed a recruit that many Michigan fans don't feel comfortable with him. He goes by the name of Chase Herbstreit, the son of Kirk Herbstreit, former OSU player, current ESPN analyst for college football. Let me ask you this. One, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on the on Michigan landing him? And two, do you think he's a Mo? Because I'm starting to see a lot of Michigan fans say that he is going to be a Mo. He is there to get information to relate that. Do you believe that's the case?
So here's the thing. I do not think he's a mole. I think that that narrative is it's crazy. It's like the people that tried to claim that about Tony Alford coming up here. Let's be honest about Herbstreit. It's halfway just a depth move. It's also halfway just to troll OSU. We saw earlier this year how us getting a legacy from Michigan State sent their fan base into a crash out mode when we got Caden Strayhorn. And we're looking at possibly losing all but one, maybe two of our quarterbacks in our current room. And, we're bringing in one from the portal, most likely. We got Bryce Underwood, but we need depth in that room as well. And it's going to be very tough to bring in any other quarterback in this recruiting class that's, of national renown in any way, because they're looking at, 4 to 5 years before they get a chance to start. Because Bryce Underwood, they're not starting as long as Bryce Underwood's on the roster unless Bryce gets hurt. So we went after Chase Herbstreit. From everything I can find, Herbstreit's a 3-star with a 3-star quarterback prospect that I've seen some people say that he had an offer from Cincinnati, but I couldn't find anything to confirm that. But even if he didn't, I think that he chose Michigan because he's looking for the education to be on a team that wins, and because we're probably the only big time program that offered him. For us, it makes sense for depth and just so we control OSU.
Yeah, I mean, well said. Let me see. 3M and Maniac have to read that aloud. What we talking about, Mello?
His super chat from the beginning.
I read. No, we don't. OH, that's all, Mello. So I agree. I'm with you. I don't think that Chase is a mo. Like you mentioned, no major schools offer them. I mean, why not say yeah to Michigan, right? I mean, if he ain't getting no offers, he could learn. He could probably learn, under Underwood and the coaching staff there. Of course, we're still waiting on to see who's going to run the offense. We still haven't signed a OC yet. That's something we're looking for. Hopefully, Michigan can wrap that up soon. That's something you don't really want to linger, because that could really, stop certain players from coming, like who's going to be there. But yeah, he won't be no more. I don't think. What is it that he's going to give Ohio State? Our plays? I don't think that's going to be the case, man. And like you said, education, right? Michigan is one of the premier academic schools, and all of the nation, and he's definitely going to get that. And plus, too, Kirk Herbstreit made it clear, man, that the OSU fan base, unfortunately, could be very toxic. And he just, I'm pretty sure he's happy his son is not there, because the things that could be said to him, if he decided to go to Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, there is a certain level of media attention that it's going to bring, which is always good if it's not for a negative reason. But I mean, let's be honest. Ohio State wasn't recruiting him. If he was going to go to Ohio State, it was going to be as a walk-on, and he wasn't going to go to Ohio State. He comes here. He's not going to start here unless, like I said, unless Bryce gets injured, or at best case scenario for him, if he's a bridge for 1 year between Bryce and the next guy. He
Correct.
Came here mainly to be part of the team, to get the prestigious Michigan education, and to be potentially on a national championship winning team. From what I understand, and I haven't looked too much into it, but I did see someone say that Kirk also has a son that's on Clemson's roster.
Yeah, I believe so.
Kirk Herbstreit is like OSU, for whatever reason, they treat Kirk Herbstreit like the redheaded stepchild anyway, because he does his job and isn't a homer as a commentator and an analyst, and I think that's messed up the way they treat him. But didn't he have to like relocate out of Ohio because of like the way the fans were acting towards him a few years back?
So there's rumors swirling that could be that, plus that he was, he was getting his Urban Meyer on as well, doing things outside his marriage, and had to get up out of there. Plus that, I believe they live in Tennessee, so they there's no income tax. There's some kind of tax break in that state, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. You live there, so you'll know more than I do.
There's no state income tax, so you
So
do
there
get
you
more
go.
money.
So maybe that's a reason. All right. So I see we got another super chat. What's up, my guys? Number 2 corner in the transfer portals, visiting Michigan tomorrow. He's from Mississippi State. His name is Bryce Pollock. Go Blue. Big house boy. Thank you for the super chat, my brother. We do appreciate that. And yes, man, please bring them corners in. We're going to need depth at secondary. Remember, we got to face Ohio State every year. So those are elite receivers. And now with the addition of Oregon to our conference, who also has elite receivers, we're going to need these kind of cornerbacks that is going to be physical, aggressive, and, they got length on them. So, man, hopefully, he chooses Michigan and we can add him, and, Wink gon' coach him up. Believe that. And Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know a whole lot about Pollock. I think he's, I mean, from everything I've seen, he's not a bad player, but I haven't honestly seen him play. But he is going to be in Ann Arbor tomorrow, and it makes me wonder, like Lamar Morgan, how like he just doesn't stop. How many DVs are we going to have in the room next year?
It does it.
But
Yeah.
you know, it also makes you wonder, like, what are they hearing if they're bringing in more DBs to look at in the portal? Or are they looking to replace someone that's going to be on the way out? So
Yeah.
you
And
don't know. We're gonna be cutting the roster down quite a bit to get down to the 105 or whatever it is, the new total for scholarships, and then there's gonna be people that transfer out, and we're gonna circle back to that a little bit later in the show. We're gonna get into the transfer portal once Madman gets here, so we will revisit that. But I think he's gonna be you know, if he ends up coming to Michigan, I think he's a solid addition. A solid addition for
Yeah,
2025.
definitely. And you know, there's been like I mentioned in the group chat, I've heard there is like whispers regarding Sugar Hill. And you know, if that's the case, man, you know, he's pretty much guaranteed a starting spot next year. But you know, we're definitely in the era, man, where who knows if there's other schools offering. You're telling me Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Will Johnson wasn't getting offers last offseason, you know, telling them, listen, your coach is gone. You want to play for a first year coach? We're going to pay you over here. But I'm pretty sure that happened. I'm glad they stood with the good guys. And it wasn't the season we wanted, but it definitely ended well. We'll see. So I see Burks and Mello. I'm having some friendly fire in the chat. Mello is a GOAT, guys. No need to bully him when we beat his team as this year. Show mercy because OSU is gonna get killed by Tennessee next week, Burks. Next week. No, two. Next week. Yeah, next week. The only college football game going on is Army Navy this week. And then next Friday, we start the college playoffs. And man, I am excited for that. Mello, are y'all going to beat Tennessee or will Columbus be on fire? Yeah. Get Mello, man. Lord, just keep it respectful, man. Mello's a good dude, but he got to get it, man. This is a Michigan thing. Burks, they can't bully me. and they type it on the keyboard. Yeah, man. So I would say also, speaking of the portal, I don't want to get too deep into it, but we've seen about 6-7 players already that has
From
transferred.
Michigan?
Yeah.
I know there's 4 offensive line. Jaden Denegal. I think Micah Pollard. I don't want to say the wrong Pollard brother, the linebacker.
Yeah.
Trying to see it.
Yeah, so we got Gentry. We know who was our center again?
So Raheem Anderson and Dom Jadis both were at center, and they
Jadis, Gentry. So you know these are, even though we've been very good in recruiting on the O line, so we're good with players there. We're good. But we also want to bring in some depth, and that's what it's gonna be, right? Is adding depth to the to a lot of positions, man, because I'm hoping, man, Ernest Hausman and Jay Sean come back for another year, man, because I really think that they could benefit from that. And I think they're gonna be animals in the year 2 on the Wink system, because we saw what they were supposed to be from week 1, right? But we saw it late, man. And I think another year it's gonna get crazy. So hopefully they can stay.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing with the transfers, I think some of them, like when Tristan Bounds and a couple other ones jumped in the portal, I think that's just your normal roster cuts. But when we see someone like Gentry, like Jadis, jumping in the portal, and this is just my personal opinion, this is not in any way anything that I've been told or have intel on, but I think that Coach Moore went in and especially when it came to the offensive line, but probably for the majority of the roster, said, hey, after the performance this year, there's no guaranteed starting spots next year. You got to compete. You got to win the position again. And I think we're going to see some people that are going to say, well, I've already won the position, and if that's the case, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're seeing with a few of the guys, and frankly, I'm okay with it. Yeah, Tommy Doman is also in the portal as well.
Yeah, Tommy.
I think
that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, that really shocks me, right? When a punter, I mean, why is it that he's transferring? Now, I know why. He's going to be a grad transfer, I believe.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best of years. Like, in fact, this is probably his worst season, even though he did well against Ohio State. So he is forgiven for his play during the season. OSU have declared that Kirk Herbstreit is no longer. Listen, it's okay, man. I had told the chat, guys. I said, is Kirk Herbstreit gonna wear Maize blue attire when he comes to Michigan to watch his son? Well, I'm not gonna say watch his son play, but at least in the spring game, right? He's definitely gonna play in the spring game. So, something that I might be going to, man. I'm thinking about going. I've never been to one, so I'm definitely looking just to get that first look at Bryce Underwood, man. Herbstreit is both on the 18th for ESPN. He's on the primetime broadcast for the NFL. Who else has done more? Yeah, man, listen. Look, Herbstreit, like Kinetic mentioned earlier, he's not he sometimes he throws his shots in there, but he's normally impartial when it comes to commentating. He call it like it is. The fan base, unfortunately, the OSU fan base, like I said, is a toxic one, is an atrocious one. It's a crime one. It's always using an excuse one. And they always taking their shots at Kurt, man. He's keeping it real. I've always said it, man. People are sensitive to the truth, Kinetic. And that's just the reality. And it's not only in sports and life. Nobody wants to hear the truth no more. Nobody doesn't. So, Kirk, keep it real. They don't like that.
I think.
But anyway,
I might be losing you. Your audio cut out there. You want to repeat that last part?
Oh man, I did. All right. So no, I just said that people are sensitive to the truth, man. Nobody wants to hear the truth anymore. They want you to just, they want to hear. They want to hear what they want to hear, and we're not here for that. OC has been selected, but he must be coaching still. Okay, smashing the numbers.
So if that's the case, who have we heard of that's still coaching? I mean, like the ones that I've heard the most spoken about the most are Jason Candle, Joe Craddock, and then the guys in the NFL like Brian Greasy. Is there someone else I'm thinking of? Is Tulane in Toledo still playing? Do they got bowl games?
I believe Tulane does. I don't know about Toledo. What was their record? Look, regardless who we decide to go with, right? He needs to understand that we want to keep our identity, which we know what that is. That's Smash Mouth. That's Michigan football. Controlling the trenches. But now we're going to incorporate a more deadlier pass attack. So now you're going to have to respect the pass because we're going to stretch the field. So it gets scary. It's similar to like what you see with Oregon. It's even similar to what you see with OSU. These teams, these high-power offenses who are very well balanced, right? But the reason why I want to say you want to be physical is because when you're physical, when it's time to get into a phone booth fight, you are prepared to win those 14-10 kind of games. So I don't want to just be a finesse team, which I think that's what Ohio State is. They a finesse team. When it's time to get into a fist fight, that's something they don't like to be in. And it showed on November 30th. Super chat. Big House Boy. Bring back the 2 starting linebackers and then Rob Moore and maybe Derek Moore. That's a pretty good start to the defense before the portal heats up. Listen, man, Big House Boy, I agree 1,000% with you. You're talking about 4 players right there who will be crucial to next year's defense. Derek Moore, he's a starter. I mentioned that he definitely needs to come back. Him going pro, he's gonna be made if he even gets drafted. And then I think Rob Moore, I think TJ, shout to TJ, and John. He mentioned that bro, it's Rob Moore's coming back. So that's a lead in that secondary. And then, Hausman and Burnham, that's already 4. So we'll have 4 starters. I'm pretty sure Zeke Berry is going to take a corner spot. Depending what Sugar Hill does, he'll be another starting. And bro, we just got to replace them D tackles. Along with replacing them, Kinetic, we need to add depth to that as well.
Yep. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, not every portal target's going to be a starter or a home run. That we got to get depth too. For every depth piece that leaves, we got to get a depth piece back in return. It's the same reason we brought in guys last year like Wesley Walker and CJ Charleston, guys like that. We've got to build up the depth because that definitely showed, especially earlier in the season and throughout the season, how where a lot of our big name guys were having to play sometimes as many as double the reps they were last year because we just didn't have the depth for the rotation like we used to.
Correct, man. And Rashawn Benny, he's another one. He was one of these guys who did rotate for the defensive tackle. He needs to come back because, his stock ain't really high right now as far as draft go. Tennessee should play a fight song. Who was that, man? Teron Nelson. Man, I agree with you, champ. Let's do it, man. Tennessee, let me see. Will you play Jalen Davis in the bowl game? Is he even staying? So I haven't heard anything regarding Jaden Davis, whether he's going to go, whether he's going to stay. But we know Davis Warren will be the starter come bowl game. Do we see Jaden Davis? I don't know. We'll see once bowl practice starts what the intel is going to be regarding that. But I would like to see him, man, because this Bama Michigan game is just a showcase game. Who's gonna, who might get a starting position on defense next year, on offense next year, based on how they look in this bowl game or even some reps. So let's see how that goes, man. What you think regarding Jaden Davis, Kinetic?
So is he staying? I think he's staying. I think he was more likely to transfer when we still had Brady Hart coming in next year. With him staying, I can't sit here and say that there's a narrow path for Chase Herbstreit to start 4 or 5 years down the road after Bryce leaves or if he gets injured, without saying the same for Jaden Davis. It is possible that because the way the timing would work out is Jaden Davis would have 1 or 2 years, depending on when Bryce, goes to the NFL, that he could potentially be that bridge or the next guy after Bryce Underwood still. Even if he's not, because I do think it makes sense for him to transfer, but I don't think it makes sense for him to transfer this year. He's traditionally we do have good development, strength and conditioning stuff at Michigan like that. And we've got all the assets to be able to bring in, QB coaches and analysts to help Jaden Davis correct his throwing motion, to get his fundamentals in line where he needs to be a starting college quarterback. And so, in a lot of cases, more so than some of the smaller schools or where he might look to transfer when he transfers. So I think even if he's looking to transfer, I think it's more likely he looks to transfer after 1 more year in the program. Because he'll be more ready at that point to start at a new school rather than going to another school just to sit on the bench there as well.
So you mentioned,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish it. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, as far as the bowl game, I said this the other day with Madman on here. I think as far as the bowl game goes, you start Davis Warren. He has earned that, especially with his victory over OSU. Start him for the first quarter. Put Jaden Davis in sometime in the second quarter, and by halftime into the third quarter, if we're not in a position to win the game, then I had said at the time, put in Denegal. Denegal's leaving now, so I doubt that happens. So maybe Davis Warren the first quarter and a half. Put Jaden Davis in going into halftime into the third quarter, and if we're not in a position to win when we get into the fourth quarter, I don't know. Put Kendrick Bell at quarterback and have fun.
Kendrick Bell, man, that's funny. He was a high school quarterback. We even see him attempted to throw in the Ohio State game, which wasn't a bad pass. Yeah. So speaking of depth at quarterback, right? Miller Morse we haven't heard it from him, but as per sources, he is interested in Michigan. He mentioned that. Now, we know Miller Morse is a veteran. He's a starter at a Power 4 school at USC. Him coming in, right? I mean, I'm with it, man. Give me Miller Morse. But if he does get beat out by the freshman in Underwood, what do you think happens then?
I mean, I think that I think we're going to get someone, Miller Moss or someone else. I think Miller Moss is our main target, but he's also trending to places like Louisville and I think the other one was Mizzou or something like that. So we'll see what happens there. I think we bring in somebody like that. It's a competition with him and Bryce, unless Bryce just blows everyone out of the water in camp. I think we're looking at a KJJ situation. But I don't want to move Kendrick Bell to quarterback permanently, but I think having fun with him back there, because the bowl game, like here's the thing with the bowl game, none of us are Michigan fans are already looking to next year, right? We're not. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a Michigan fan that's going to be like, oh, we need to win this bowl game. It's so important we win this bowl game. I think the Florida Bowls are fun, man. There's a whole week of extravaganza and hoopla and events going on that the players all get to be a part of. Go down there and have fun, man. And if like I said, if we're losing or not in a position to win the game, then just play backyard football and have some fun. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't overthink the QB position. Have some fun with it, man. Give Davis Warren his flowers and let him start it. Get Jaden Davis in there, get him some reps, and just have fun with the game, man.
No, I agree, man. Absolutely. We have another super chat. Mr. Jones, thank you for the super chat, sir. How many opts out y'all think we see on both sides? Man, opt-outs. Man, good question, Mr. Jones. I mean, that's something we've been speaking about in our chat that we have amongst ourselves. We already see, we've seen transfers as far as opt-out. Look, off the bat, we know Mason Graham, we know Kenneth Grant, Josiah Stewart, Will Johnson, right off the bat. Don't even ask. Those guys are not going to play. I'm about 95% sure of that. On offense, it's just Colston Loveland. Now, I'm also hearing Donovan Edwards and even Khalil Mullins be opting out. So, we'll see as far as Khalil Mullins and Donovan Edwards go. I haven't heard nothing 100% definitive that they will, but those are players we are expecting to opt out. So we're gonna see a lot of young players in this bowl game, guys. This is gonna look like Michigan JV.
I mean, as far as opt-outs, I do expect Donovan to opt out simply because he's accepted the invite to the Senior Bowl, and that's going to be a better platform for him to showcase his talents for the NFL scouts than the Reliaquest Bowl. Similar thing for guys like Josiah Stewart. Anyone that's going to the Senior Bowl that has draft prospects, I don't think is going to play. I think Colston Loveland's probably sitting out. He's, Mason Graham. I'm not sure on Kenneth Grant, and here's why I say this. Kenneth Grant is, as it sits right now, he could not play another down in college, and he's going to be most likely a first-round pick in the draft next year. However, there is room for him to move up in the first round, and that is a decent difference in pay in his rookie contract if he moves from, projected number 20 up to number 10, for example. So I could see him potentially wanting to play, to have more tape. But he's also going to have the combine and the pro day as well. So I'm torn on whether or not I think Kenneth Grant plays. There's also rumors that Michigan is making a hard push to try to get Kenneth Grant to stay for one more year. And I'm not sure how that's going to play into it as well. I personally think that Barham and Houseman should both come back next year because they did have a good, but I would say somewhat inconsistent season this year. But if they are looking at going into the NFL draft, I could see them again wanting to get more tape down of under, with how they're playing right now with the bowl game. So we'll see. Obviously, anybody that's planning on transferring out is probably also sitting, and anybody that's got any lingering injuries are sitting. So I'm not sure. Kalel Mullins, I don't know, because I think he should play because he also had an inconsistent year. He had some really great tape, and he had some not so great tape. He came kind of out of nowhere. Where nobody was really projecting him to be as good as he was this year. I think he definitely improved his chance of getting drafted, but prior to this year, was anybody really looking at him to get drafted at all? So I personally think he needs to play to get that extra tape, but again, he's a senior, and as far as I know, he hasn't gotten a Senior Bowl invite, so I don't know. I think he should, but I mean, that's where I sit with the.
If you had to guess, because Mr. Jones said both sides, so he's also I'm assuming he's mentioning Alabama as well. I'm not really familiar with who's. I know Jalen Monroe, of course, he's eligible for the draft. I don't think this game really helps. Well, it can't. It all depends who's going to play for Michigan, because if most of the starters are out and he puts up a good game, I mean, how much credit do you really give him, right? So Milroe might call it a day. I really don't know who else they have as far as who's eligible for the draft or not. Let me see. All right. Lynch Max. Remember, becoming a channel member to support the channel costs money, but liking the video and subscribing is free. Exactly, Lynch. Everyone like, new sub is a touchdown in Lake Inferior State next year. Appreciate that, Lynch, man. Yeah, anyone who's not a member, please be a member. Please subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, even if they OSU fans, because we come for the gusto. Ripstar, oh my goodness, it is he. Wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all thought that I was finished? My man, your man, the main man, the Maize man.
Hey, your mic.
The banners.
Bro, I don't see them. I only see one or two banners, and it's the $50 away from second and third out.
If you hit the arrow next to that, and then you go to Bluetooth, the banners.
I don't have that.
You do. There's an arrow next to what do you see? Immediate reaction or folders?
All I see is immediate reaction. That's the only thing.
Hit the arrow next to immediate reactions to the left. There's an arrow.
Okay, I got it now. My bad.
Bluetooth.
I'll learn this stuff one day. One day.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is I, the Maize Madman. I am here with the guys. What have we covered?
So we know you was coming late to the party, which we know. But we glad you're here. So listen, we were just touching up on the Chase Herbstreit, committing to
Yup.
Michigan. Is he a mole or not? Because that's word around the campfire. He's gonna be a mole for OSU. I don't think so.
He's not a mole.
I know. We kind of spoke briefly on the transfer portal. We were just now that you here, now we could officially get to the Michigan Alabama game, which we was pretty much doing. Mr. Jones, for the super chat, he had mentioned asking us, who do you think opts out on both sides? So let's ask you the same question, Madman. For Michigan, who you think is opting out?
I honestly don't think Michigan is going to go in this with very many of their star players, if you will. I think 3 people on the offensive line definitely not going to play. Josiah Stewart, Kenneth Grant, and Mason Graham. I don't think any of them play. I don't think on the other side, Colston Loveland plays. Obviously, Will Johnson isn't going to play. So those are the big ones. Those are the biggest ones that I think are out for sure. There's nothing that those defensive linemen are going to gain in that game. For anybody who thinks, because I know we spoke about this off cam, and Kinetic was talking about this being a kind of another way for Kenneth Grant to get tape out there. At this point, I don't think Kenneth Grant in a game like this is going to benefit. It's not going to benefit him because Alabama is also going to have players that don't play too. So, they don't care about you, playing against the backups anyway. And I think the thing that's going to benefit him most now is Michigan's pro day and the combine, because he's put tape on. He's got 3 years worth of tape. Now it's these combines and these kind of like focus drills and stuff like that.
Let me ask you guys this. Does beating Ohio State makes this losing this game like whatever, man? It really don't matter. Or if we would have lost to Ohio State, winning this game would have meant a little more.
Well, yeah, if we'd have lost to Ohio State, then absolutely a win would have meant more. I don't want to lose this game, right? If I'm being fair. I don't think it matters though as much because of the way Michigan finished the regular season. I do, and here's one. I've already got the excuses built in, if I'm being honest, right? Excuses are we're not gonna have any of our best players if we lose, right? If we win, though, we just beat the 11th ranked team in the country, right? And granted, they're not gonna play some of their best players either. I think the playoff, especially now that it's 12 teams, has really diminished the bowl season as we used to know it, right? I think there's like both teams in this, win or lose, are going to get like $6.9 million for their universities. So it doesn't matter who wins or who loses this one. I mean, by the way, are you having an allergic reaction, my guy?
Who, me?
Maniac? Yeah.
Nah.
Your face look a little puffy, man. You been
crying?
Yeah? You been crying?
Nah. No. So, I don't know why.
So here's the thing, man. First of all, has it ever been done where we or any team has played a team on the first day of the year, beat them in the game that actually matters on January 1st, 2024, and then we're going to play them again on December 31st of 2024, 366 days thanks to the leap year later? I mean, we've already beaten them in the game that matters for the year. This is just an exhibition game for extra practices.
It is. It definitely is, especially for the younger guys, man. So we'll get to see a lot of guys, a lot of Jordan Marshall, Benjamin Hall. That's if Khalil Mullins decides not to play.
Hopefully, our guy Michael Capana.
Michael Capana.
By the way, speaking of, I got it on good authority that those 3 guys are going to play in this game, because guys like Edwards Mullings will not be playing in this game. The future is bright in the backfield, of course. We're going to get to see some of those guys. I saw my guy, Antoine Johnson, talk about the future. Of course, it is about getting Michigan ready for the future. And that comes with both getting these guys some reps and with the transfer portal. I know you guys already spoke about the transfer portal, but definitely that's how Michigan's going to improve
touched on
the
it
team.
for a moment because we were waiting for you. Ferris had actually asked who we thought we were going to go after. I didn't get a chance to highlight the comment and I also kind of wanted to wait till we were all here to circle back to it. Yeah,
no doubt. Let's get into that. I guess we can get into the portal. It's out of order, but let's go ahead and finish that up, right? Portal rumors and the wish list. I have a wish list. I'm sure everybody does. High on that wish list is Jonte Cook, right? I don't think Michigan's going to get him. No, I think he's looking at Colorado. I think that might be where he ends up. So I'm okay with that too. He is he's like a smaller receiver, but he's legit, right? So I think
that's the Georgia. Is that the Georgia receiver?
No, that's Texas. That's the guy that got released from Texas earlier this year.
Okay.
But he's legit. He's a freshman, true freshman, I believe. Former 5-star wide receiver, but I think he might end up with Dion. So we'll see what happens with that. Outside of him, though, Nitro Tuggle has, entered the portal from Georgia. He's from the state of Indiana. He was high school teammates with Josiah Edmond. They're really close. And Michigan was trying very hard to flip him from Georgia at the end of the last cycle. I think that Michigan is really going to go after him. I think there might even be some mutual interest. That may be the reason that he's entered the portal now that Michigan has Bryce Underwood, a legit quarterback that can get him the football. So I think there's some mutual interest there. And I like that a lot. What do you guys like at receiver?
Listen, man. Go ahead, Kinetic.
I was gonna say the big names out there, and I don't know how likely they are for us, but the big names out there, we got Casey Concepcion, Micah Hudson, Varian, what's his name from Kentucky, Varian Brown. Mm-hmm. Some of those guys are nice, and it would be amazing to look at them. I've heard that I think Jonte is looking at like Texas A&M or to stay down there in that Texas area. Mm-hmm. But there's some really nice wide receivers in the portal. If you're asking about receivers specifically, let me look that up. Go ahead, Maniac, while I look this up on the chart.
No, I mean, listen, I haven't really checked the list, honestly, regarding which receivers are in the portal. Even though you just read me some names, I got to really take a look. But we do, listen, man, we do need receivers. That was, bro, we were just like bad out there, man. We didn't have no dogs out there. So it's going to be pivotal if Michigan is going to make a playoff run next season to get some receivers, man. I know we got some good ones coming in as freshmen, but we're going to need some veterans out there as well to mix it up with these freshmen. Because I know some of them are going to get some playing time.
Absolutely. Yeah, so wide receiver, we definitely got to get some toys for my guy Bryce Underwood, right? Everybody agrees with that. We need some offensive firepower. There are a couple tight ends that entered the portal here recently, a couple good ones too. I think Michigan needs to kick the tires there. I know Hogan Hansen is good. Is Marlon Klein is coming back?
Yes.
We know Marlon Klein will be back. So he probably is going to be a top target, especially early on for Bryce, if Bryce is that quarterback coming out the gate. But honestly, for any quarterback that Michigan ends up getting, Marlon Klein's a good target for. Brady Priestcorn, I know he got hurt. I'm not sure how serious the injury is.
Yeah,
At some point
that's
in
a
the
good
season,
question.
he got hurt
That
in
is
like
a good question.
warm-ups, right?
He did. He did in the
Yeah,
OSU game, and he
yeah,
was a highly touted 4-star coming out of high school. So this guy's Michigan. They're not hurting that tight end. There's one
right.
position that they good, but you can always add more, right? It doesn't matter, like they say in life. No matter how rich you are, enough money is never enough money. You can
Yeah.
always get more. So let's
Zero
do it.
Cool says I'm bigger on Hogan Hansen. He might be better than Marlon Klein. I mean, I think he might be a more polished tight end for sure. Marlon Klein is just a huge human.
He's just raw potential.
Yeah.
Before I move on to the tight ends, I just want to point out a couple of names to look at for wide receiver. Eric Rivers is an intriguing one. He did really good at FIU. We are trending for McCulley, but we've been on his radar since
I like
last
McCulley.
year.
He's a big guy.
Malachi Coleman from Nebraska, and there was one other one here that I had seen. And I can't think of who it was now. But yeah, those are some to keep an eye on. Kendrick Law transferring out of Alabama. Those
That's why Antoine just mentioned that. He said that he wants Law. And listen, Michigan fans, don't get upset, because you know what's gonna happen, right, guys? If Michigan doesn't get all the receivers they get from the portal are not 5 stars, people gonna cry. Well, we getting this guy. Listen, we won a natty with Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson. They were 4 stars. We didn't have no 5-star receivers. We need guys. I mean, it'll be nice to get them, don't get me wrong, but we need guys that's gonna fit the system well, man. And that's that. We can't go star happy. That doesn't guarantee shit. Look at OSU. Perfect example.
And I feel like okay, I know Eric Rivers is a smaller receiver, but we are bringing in a bunch of big receivers, and we just lost Tyler Morris. It doesn't hurt to have a couple of those smaller receivers, those fast, quick, shifty guys. And I think that I personally, I'm really high on Rivers. I think he could be a good replacement for Tyler Morris.
Speaking of which, one player, let me know if he has any eligibility. I don't care what anybody. My man O'Leary. O'Leary has another year. So. Yo, put my man in the slot. Someone like Bryce Underwood will cook with him. Trust me.
Absolutely. Shout out to William S. Kane. And thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, "Go blue and get the mother likes up." Absolutely. I promise it doesn't cost you a penny to be a little friendly. All you got to do is hit the thumbs up. It's really nothing. Antoine says Kendrick Law is like Debo. I think he's talking about that. Debo Samuel. Yeah, man. Look, it's a lot of good receivers out there. I'm gonna be real with you. It's a lot of good receivers. Michigan, I feel like they only need 2, maybe 3 max out of the portal at that position. If they can get the key ones, like I said, if they can get a Kendrick Law, if they can get a Nitro Tuggle, Jonte Cook or somebody like that, or 2 of those guys, that could be plenty. I also like there's some linemen that I like. Hunter Zambrano out of Illinois State is in the portal. Also, Jordan White is in the portal. I like both of those guys.
How about
I think
that?
Jordan White will be making a visit to Michigan. Go ahead.
They also the guy from Kansas State is an old lineman, bro. Number 77. He's a dog.
You talking about the offensive tackle from Kansas State? Carver Willis, I think is his name, right?
Yeah. I don't know Carver his name. Willis. I know he was an elite. Yeah, he was an elite old lineman, man. I see OSU fans like, please. Yeah, Nitro is a dope nickname. I mean, because we got to beef up, because it's looking like
with a name like Nitro, you got to be fast. Like, you can't be a slow receiver if your name is Nitro.
Right.
So you got to run a 4.3 or better. That's it.
Johnson from Oregon, great in space. Michigan need 3 different receivers, one that can stretch the field, one that can run folks over for extra yards, and one that can take it for a touchdown. I mean, they definitely, need a plethora of guys with different strengths for sure. I agree with that.
For offensive tackle, I know we're having him in for a visit, but Jordan White out of Liberty,
I just mentioned Jordan White.
Yeah.
Who I think doesn't. I think they're looking at him more of an interior offensive lineman than offensive tackle.
Yeah. So with tackles, there's not, at least on the tracker right now, there's not a ton of like high profile tackles, but there's some that would be good depth pieces. But I know that not so. There's a difference between, we've seen on like Twitter and stuff, Hayes Fawcett gets and Pete Nakos and all of them putting out there, this guy's entering, that guy's entering.
Right.
Not all of them have actually officially entered the portal yet.
Yeah.
So just understand that. But like there are, if everyone that enters that says they're going to enter, there are a lot of really good tackles and interior linemen going to be in the portal. A lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah. We need, because what if we being realistic here? So we Crippen and El Hadi, right? That's the two linemen that does have eligibility coming back.
Evan Link also has eligibility.
And Evan Link. So that's the right side. So that's right guard, right tackle, and our center. So we pretty much left guard and left tackle. I mean, of course, my man Baba, he coming in 5-star. You know, he might get that, looking like Ty Haywood. So it's gonna be a battle, man, in the trenches. Whoever the starting 5 next year, they're gonna have to earn that.
Yeah.
So Donovan just in the chat, yeah, Eric Singleton is a beast at receiver. I just haven't heard anything at all with him. With in the conversation with Michigan, that's why I didn't really bring him up. I haven't even heard any rumors or anybody at all. So I'm not sure who he's being looked at by, but
no doubt,
definitely good.
Ripstar with the 199 super chat says, "Pass on busted gyms in the portal." That's an ode to the college football game. Shout out to Ripstar for that. I guess y'all ran Melo out of here. Y'all successfully ran Melo out of here, Rip.
They did. They were coming off the top rope. Bang, bang.
Bro.
They were getting at him.
I was in class, bro, trying to calm the chat down on Melo. The heat be turned up when Melo get in here. Shout out to Antoine, says, "Yo, Matt, this is Michigan's chance to recruit against Ohio State. Any O-line they go for, we should hate, recruit, and block them." Go look at Ohio State recruiting the trenches. They in trouble. I agree, 1,000%.
Yes. And that's funny. That's funny because I was listening to Dev, which is the guy that has the show with Melo.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that, man, he was cooking fried. Like, man, look at the position he has us in. So Antoine is 100% correct. This is an opportunity for Michigan to really cut throat and get all those elite linemen, because the recipe remains the same. It's the trenches when it comes to Ohio State. Let them get those 5 stars. Thank you. Yeah. You're not addressing the elephant in the room, right? So go ahead, get those 5 stars. While we keep getting better in the trenches, it's going to continue to show that last Saturday in November.
I just want to point out that if we miss on Miller Moss, Sharon Moore has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever with a certain quarterback and running back.
Devin Brown.
Listen,
Devin Brown and Chip
not
Trainum.
Just with Devin Brown. Listen, Chip Trainum has entered the portal
again.
He has an opportunity to do something funny there too. Although I hear Chip is talking to the other state again, that just sounds like an abusive relationship at this point.
How funny would it be though for us to go in and beat them for the 5th year in a row, but this time with their own guys?
That would be hilarious. That said, I see my guy Moose is in the chat. Shout out to Moose. Mr. Jones with the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Says, after the offseason self-assessment, how much do you trust this staff to identify the right talent, and how much will the OC hire impact those decisions? Mr. Jones, this is an excellent question. By the way, I think the OC should be hired ASAP because whoever it is needs to start building out their, getting the guys that they want, the guys that fit their scheme, to the best of their ability, of course. And it's good for guys in the portal, especially offensive guys, to know who it is they're going to be playing for, right? And what type of scheme they're going to be in. But that's a great one.
Hey, I just want to shout out Mr. Jones. That Avatar pick, that's cold as fuck, dude.
Yeah, and it's funny Mr. Jones mentioned that early in the episode. I did mention that it's pivotal that Michigan does hire OC, because if I'm gonna come over here, who's the coach? I need to know what's gonna be the game plan. If I'm gonna leave the school I'm at now to come here, I want to know. I want to eat. I want to make sure that plate is full.
Right.
I don't want to, come to a school to be back at square one. So I agree. Someone mentioned that they feel the OC is hired, but he's still currently playing. He's currently still coaching. But is that what, the playoffs? Is that the NFL? Is that bowl season? So, that's interesting.
So that makes sense. That makes sense on why it hasn't been announced, right? But let me ask both of you this. Is that kind of shooting us in the foot for some of these recruits?
Could be.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Kinetic.
So I don't know. The name that I keep hearing the most about is Jason Campbell. And if that's the case, I don't even know if Toledo's in a bowl game. But if they were, it's not like this would be the first time that a coach was announced before they coached their final game at a bowl game with their current school before going on to the next school.
Right.
It's not like that's unheard of. So if that's the case, it would have to be a playoff team. What coordinators on a playoff team, on a current playoff team, are we looking at? Tennessee?
ASU?
ASU, yeah. So ASU and Tennessee are the only ones that I can think of that I've heard the OC's name connected to Michigan at all. So if that's the case, I think it has to be a playoff team, and those are the only two as far as I know.
No doubt. Shout out to Courtney Harper. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, Donovan Cully is crystal ball to us. I think we have good depth on O-line. We really need to get this OC right because Carr's last game, we opened the offense.
I think we've got depth in O-line, but we need to bring some.
Yeah, we need some top end. We need better. Let me not say better. I don't want to disrespect any of the guys. We do need some help on the offensive line still.
Yeah.
We need more guys that can come in and compete for the job, for the starting job, and push the guys that are there.
Absolutely.
Correct. No, we need to get back. Let's make no bones about it. This O-line was far from elite this season, very inconsistent. But they did step up. They gotten better as the season went on. But it was kind of too late. We need elite from week one. This coming season, it is playoff or bust. I believe someone was mentioning it in the Discord. Yes, I agree. This season coming up, I'm not saying we got to win the Natty, but at least get into the playoffs. And then the 2026 season, I think we'll definitely be one of the favorites.
Yep. No doubt. Shout out to Johnny Odin Jr., who's in the chat.
Johnny.
Legend. King in the North, no matter what that other channel says.
The King of the North.
King of the North. The North remembers.
Yes.
Shout out to Johnny.
Yeah, it's cold. That thing is cold. With Aria, remember when she killed Frey, right? That was his name.
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been him. I think it was Frey.
Walter Frey
did him dirty. Although he did her brother and mother.
No, man, the red wedding, man. That red wedding. Oh,
dirtbag.
Is that what,
that's what we should have said. Listen.
I was about to say, can we call the Ohio State game the Red Wedding from now on?
And you know what?
Shout out to that, bro.
Tennessee needs to go into OSU and says, Michigan sends their regards.
I like that. I like it.
All right.
Michigan sends their regards. That's what's up. Let's get to some of these people in the chat before we move on to the good, the bad, the ugly of these
Yes.
CFP matchups, because it's a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Actually, I don't think we got
Hey, Johnny, can you get a shirt made up with the Michigan Ohio State game scores and with the caption of Red Wedding on it?
Madman. Is this something that happens when y'all sign on from wherever you signing on? Because I see this with Kyoki sometimes.
I think that's that's what happens with like some emojis.
Yeah.
Oh, with some emojis. Okay.
Got you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that looked like a spam. You know?
Right. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, it's about that time, ladies and gentlemen, for the good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Maize Madman, Maniac, and Kinetic proudly present to you the good, the bad, the ugly, 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 ugly.
Hey.
The slideshow gets me every time, man.
Oh, bro, it's pretty epic. Shout out to that though. Good, the bad, the ugly of this college football playoff matchups. First, let me see if I can get it up on the screen so everybody can see this. The CFP bracket. By the way, first things first. Elephant in the room. No Alabama in the CFP. Talk about that, guys, real quick. How do you feel about it? Are you upset?
Upset? Not me. I'm listen, you can't lose 3 games. That's one, right?
Right.
That's that. Remember, Clemson's the only 3-loss team in the field because of they won their conference championship. But not only Bama had 3 losses, man, they lost to 2 6-6 teams, and one of them as like a 20-point favorite. Oklahoma beat them by like 3 touchdowns. They only scored 3. Like shout to Nick Saban Jr., but the Alabama fan base, I see they all crying on we got more rank wins, man. Shut your ass up. You should have beat Oklahoma. Bottom line, if y'all was so good.
Yeah, boy, old St. Nick was panhandling for Alabama. He was out there
Yo, that was bad. He had the cup. He was like, please, let my teammates stop it. Like, I'm glad. And you know what? Shout to Kurt Herbstreit, because he called it like it is. Yeah, man, he got the cup in front of Dunkin' Donuts. He in front of Dunkin' Donuts with the cup. Talking about, please, I need playoffs for my team in the... Man, shut your ass up, your team. Now they're going to play us in the Mickey Mouse, knick-knack, paddywhack, give your dog a bone bowl.
Absolutely. And they about to get this work, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of, you're going to get this work, my guy Loaded Lux. I had a Loaded Lux thing. It's gone.
Yeah, you got to put that on. Especially when...
He about to get this work. Hold up. He going to get this work.
Here we go. Here we go. CFP first round. First of all, let's talk about the guys who got the bowl, the teams who got the bye week. Oregon, number 1 team in the country. They handled their business in the Big Ten championship, much to my chagrin, against Penn State. Penn State cost me some money, but shout out to Oregon, who handled their business. Number 1 team in the country. Georgia, who apparently just owns Texas. They are the number 2 seed. Boise State handled their business. That wasn't much of a game against UNLV. I expected more from that elite program that is UNLV. They couldn't put up much of a fight. And then Arizona State and the real Heisman Trophy frontrunner, Cam Scatterboo, went and handled business against Iowa State.
Doing anything to downplay Genty for Heisman.
I'm not downplaying Genty. Listen, Here's my decree. I want this to be known once and for all. I am not a Genty hater. If Genty wins the Heisman Trophy, I will cheer for him just like
He
anybody
is.
else.
You know, he's winning it. It's a wrap, man.
Yeah.
Him
If he
getting
wins
that
it, it's
extra
all good,
game.
right?
Yeah,
That
he's gonna
said,
win the Heisman.
I just don't think he's the best player in college football. That's all I'm saying. I think that what
Yeah.
Travis Hunter is doing is never been done before, at least in modern times, because we know back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, they were playing all the positions and all the
You was the kicker, the center, and
water
the right
boy.
tackle.
Right.
Well, listen, me and my new best friend DG disagree with you, Genty for Heisman.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I mean, there's a bunch of people who think Genty should win the Heisman. And again, if he wins it, I'm not mad at it. But there's a bunch of people who think Travis should win the Heisman too. And here we go. So those are the 4 teams that get a bye week. Then you get into the first week where the top seeds get a home game.
Yes.
How about that? You like that? A home game.
Yeah.
Number 5, Texas gets a home game against Clemson out the gate. Number 6, not the other state, I'm sorry. Number 6, Penn State. In a shocker because they are above Notre Dame, but we'll get there in a second. Penn State gets a home game against Indiana.
No, SMU.
You're right. SMU, because Notre Dame, who's the number 7 seed, gets a home game against Indiana.
Correct.
And then the other state, the 8 seed, takes on the 9 seed, Tennessee, in the shoe. Guys, give me the good, the bad, the ugly of this CFP. Same thing in the chat.
Yeah, so I'll say this, man. I'll start this. The good. I think the good about it is that they pretty much got the feel right, man. I really don't have any complaints, man. From the 4 teams that got the bye to the other 8 teams in the first round. Of course, that last spot did come down to MSU and Alabama, but I'm glad that the committee did what was right and got MSU in. You don't
SMU.
they play,
MSU
SMU
is nowhere near this damn thing.
SMU. They got the nod. They did play in their conference championship and lost a close one. Alabama didn't. Plus, Alabama has ugly losses. I think that was the good. The bad. I really, what is the bad? I mean, look, the bad and the ugly is that Ohio State isn't. That's the bad and the ugly. That unfortunately they in, and that's just bad for me, and it's just ugly to see. But hopefully Tennessee will do what's right and send their regards, man.
No doubt. My guy Kinetic, what's the good, bad, ugly for you?
I think the good is that that the committee is finally getting it. I won't say perfect. Saying right is a little too much, but getting it more right than they have in the past with the 4-game playoff, where sometimes it felt like the regular season didn't even matter because you'd get to the playoffs and they just look at, well, who's playing the best right now and put them in, as if the last 10 out of 12 weeks didn't matter. Putting SMU in over Alabama, I think, shows that they're on the right track, getting it. They're getting it now, and that bodes well for going forward in the future of college football. The bad I would say is some of the seeding. Some of the seeding is really weird. You got the number 1 team. Theoretically, if you follow other sports, especially the pro sports, generally gets the reward for being the number 1 team through the season is getting the easiest path to the natty or to the championship. That's not the case here. Oregon gets the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee. Okay. But then you've got teams like Penn State who get SMU and Boise State before having to face either Georgia, Notre Dame, or Indiana. That's bad. Something needs to be reworked with the way things are seeded and the pathing to the.
Don't do that. Hold on. Let's talk about this really quick. Oregon is the number 1 seed, and when you do these seedings, in the Sweet 16, if the number 1 team wins, and then the number 18 wins, they play each other, right? So if it goes by seeding, right, then Oregon would play Ohio State, Arizona State would play Texas, Boise would play Penn State, and Georgia would play Notre Dame. Who of those teams, other than Ohio State, if you're Oregon, would you want to play?
If I was Oregon, I'd want to
Penn State again
with Boise State.
No, Boise
Penn
State. No. We're talking about those first round teams if it goes by the seeding.
Right.
Penn State. I'll say Penn State. Right.
Penn
I
State
think
might be the better choice. But
OSU will be
Penn
the
State
second.
made the
Or
championship
Indiana.
game. They got a better seeding for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Indiana didn't win the championship game. Penn State didn't win a championship game. Tennessee wasn't even in a championship game.
Right.
Like,
No, and they're
Clemson-
seeded accordingly, right?
Clemson is the only one of those, the ones that I would say are the easier opponents that won a championship, I think, right?
Yeah, but you're missing you in the weeds now. Like we not talking about like if they won a championship game or not. I'm talking about if it goes by the seedings, right? By the seeding, Penn State's supposed to beat SMU, Ohio State's supposed to beat Tennessee, Texas supposed to beat Clemson, Notre Dame's supposed to beat Indiana. Then you get those out of those 4 teams. If you're the number 1 seed, who you want to play? Now, granted, Penn State might be the answer, but they just gave Oregon everything they could handle in that championship game. So it's not like that was a walk in the park for Oregon either.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. I just feel like it's not where it needs to be. We need to really take a look at it and figure it out. It might not need a big overhaul, but it probably needs some tweaks.
Yeah.
But
somebody brought up that they should reseed after the first round.
I like that, but I don't think it should just be a simple reseeding. But my ugly though, and I'm gonna take this from your boys over there on week 0.
Mm-hmm.
The ugly was the Notre Dame crash out for no reason, for absolutely no reason. The Notre Dame fan crash out with the playoff seeding is ridiculous, especially because a year ago when the committee met and set down the ground rules for this 12-team playoff and the selection, all of the Notre Dame fan base, including their AD, were championing the fact that they don't have to play a conference championship game, so they know they're going to get a game in the first round of the playoffs, and that they were willing to make that trade-off because they felt it was more favorable.
Right.
And then this seeding was announced, and they just lost it for no reason. They're facing Indiana in the first round, and assuming they beat Indiana, they're facing a Georgia team that almost got beaten by Georgia Tech in 8 overtimes and lost their starting quarterback.
Right.
Where's the problem? And then if they win that game, which they should, they're
then
playing
they should
Penn
beat
State,
whoever's
SMU,
next.
or Boise State.
Yeah.
Why is there such a big Notre Dame fan crash out? That's
because they wanted the path of least resistance. Look, here's the thing. I will say this, and I've and it pains me to say it. It's been paining me to say it all year. Notre Dame looks like a legit team this year.
But you don't get the path of least resistance by when you won't even join
right, and that's the problem. That's the issue, is that they didn't play an extra game, and that's why teams like Penn State,
they weren't even in the running to get a chance to play in an extra game like Tennessee. Like you can't refuse to go into the because when you are not in a conference, everybody's going to look at you as if you still have something to prove, more so than these other teams that are there.
Yeah.
So you can't want that and then also say, well, we want the path of least resistance.
Yeah, nah, I get that 1000%. We on the same page. Like Penn State played an extra game. No, they did lose that game, but they still played another game, and they played a tight game. It wasn't like, it was a blowout game. Texas played an extra game. They lost that game, but again, that was a good game. I think it went to overtime. It was an overtime game, right?
Which one?
Texas and Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah.
It did.
So both of those teams being above Notre Dame, I'm okay with. And like you pointed out, Notre Dame is playing Indiana in round 1. They should win that game. And they were complaining. Here's the other thing that Notre Dame fans were complaining about, that playing Indiana isn't a true road game, a true home game, because Indiana's so close and they can bring their fans. Bro, stop crying, bro. Get off the chill. This is all,
Yeah, listen. Indiana, anyway, Kinetic, just finish your good, bad, ugly. So we could kind of go through these games.
No, that was my.
Yeah, he's done.
I
He's
did my
done.
good, bad, and ugly.
All right.
My ugly
So-
was the Notre Dame fan crash out.
And what was it? All right. And
The bad was the seating inconsistencies.
right. And man, talk to us. You're
Yeah,
good,
so,
you're bad,
so
you're
my
ugly.
good is that the Big Ten got the most teams in the playoffs. Let's start there. That's the good. The bad is that the other state got a home game. That's disgusting. It's vile. It's gross. And then the ugly, if there's an ugly, would be, I don't really have an ugly, man. I think I was gonna say I was reserving my ugly for Alabama getting in here, but they didn't get in here. So now, I guess the ugly is just the nasty work that Penn State looks like they're gonna get a cupcake to at the very least, the semifinals.
Well, I'm
Nasty
gonna
work.
look. So, all right, let's not go through the whole playoff. Let's just go through the first round games that we know are gonna happen.
Right.
All right. So let's start from the top. Right. What's that? Texas.
Scott Moore is officially coming back, according to Moose.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we kind of expected that, but that's great news to hear it. We're gonna need his leadership. In that secondary. Texas,
Especially with all the
Clemson.
young guys we got coming in.
Right.
Yeah, Texas, Clemson. I think of all the first round games, this is a gimme. If you're gonna bet money, this is easy money right here. Now,
I'm
don't
not.
get me wrong. I think Clemson. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're gonna just blow the doors off for Clemson.
I'm putting money
But-
on Clemson actually
Just what, for the spread or to win?
to win.
Yeah, no, I mean Clemson are going to all. Not saying it can't happen, but I doubt it, man. I think Texas, they are. I think it's just a Georgia thing, man. And I think, Texas, they're gonna move the ball, no problem on Clemson. I think Clemson will have moments, but I just think that Texas defense, man, is gonna really show out on Saturday, man, at 4:00 on the 21st. I see Texas at least by 13, man. I say about 27-14, 27-13 kind of game for me.
No doubt.
Right? And then you got then we have, I'm gonna leave that game for last. Then we got Indiana, Notre Dame. This is, to me, this game is interesting. I think Indiana can hang around, but I just don't think they physical enough. We've seen two teams play them physical, and they look very average. And that was Michigan, and that was Ohio State. That is not who they are. Indiana is a straight finesse team. And Notre Dame, one thing about this team, they will punch you in the mouth. They have no problem doing that. In fact, that's what they like to do. That is their MO. So I'm expect Notre Dame to beat Indiana in the trenches. But I think this game, it'll be close going into the fourth quarter. But I like Notre Dame at least by 10 points in this game. Right? That's Friday night. That's going to be the first game to kick off the playoffs Friday night. Then, Penn State at SMU, it's probably the least exciting game of the first round, but probably could end up being the most exciting game, right? It's just weird. You never know with James Franklin.
That's fair.
SMU, they playing with house money here. They got a good offense. As long as they don't turn the ball over in this game, I think they're gonna have a very solid chance.
Before you get to the last one, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If SMU beats Penn State,
Which
should Penn State
hope.
consider firing James Franklin?
I think so.
That's a phenomenal question. If I'm a fan, absolutely, man. I already saw enough. James Franklin is a hell of a recruiter. Talent is not an issue at Penn State. I don't want nobody sitting here and talking about, yo, but if he had good, he gets very good players, man, on both sides of the ball. He just can't win. He doesn't know what that is. That's like speaking Spanish. You know,
I am thinking Penn State over SMU for the
So you're gonna
record,
bet
man.
on Penn State again after you
I'm
just were
definitely-
talking about how ridiculous it was that you bet
First
on
of all-
James Franklin
first of all-
and he let you down. You're
First
gonna
of
do
all-
it again.
Listen closely. He has a problem against top 10 teams, not teams the likes of SMU, bro.
Correct.
3M. 2 days ago, you bet on him, and then he let you down, and then you went on and on about how you should never have bet on James Franklin.
Right.
How you knew
So,
better.
because
than to
I bet on James
Franklin.
I did something
and now you're gonna
crazy.
bet on James Franklin again.
Yeah, but I did something crazy. I bet on James Franklin to do something that James Franklin doesn't do, and that's beat top 10 teams. James
Those are the
Franklin
facts.
beats these teams. He beats
He
the
should.
SMUs of the
So
world.
this is what I'm saying, right? So when you look at this game, right, it's going to be a physical game. Penn State again. It's probably going to be cold over there. It's going to be in the in Penn State, Pennsylvania. So it's going to be a tough SMU. They better bring their big boy pants because this is not going to be a air it out game. I'm telling you. But if there's a team of all these teams to get upset, it could be Penn State, man. This could be a game
disrespectful.
where they could really shit the bed here. I could see it, but I'm gonna go Penn State in the close game, and they'll go on to play Boise, and that, trust me, I'm not rooting for no Big Ten team here. I'm not one of those guys where like, oh, you're Big Ten.
Either.
No, if it ain't Michigan, all of y'all lose, and I hope they all lose. But I'm going to go Penn State. And then the last one.
To pick SMU on that game. I'll be the one to pick SMU.
Yeah, all right. And and that's fine. I can see it. And then the last one.
James Franklin is going to James Franklin.
You got the other state versus Rocky Top, Tennessee, the Vols. Now, this is, to me, the most 50-50 game of all the first rounds. This game is really hard to pick. I mean, as much as I hate Ohio State, but like I tell you, I'm not a hater. I'm a realist. So, Ohio State, they have the roster.
They 7.5 point favorites. You agree with that?
Ohio State 8? Nah, I don't. I think this is more like a 3.5, 4.5 kind of game. Spread on this, but Tennessee has two things that Ohio State struggles with. That's one, a good defensive line, and two, a very good running game. So again, Ohio State is weird, right? Because they wanted to. That's right, baby. Go Tennessee. They're a team that Ohio State. Not that they not a physical team, but that's not the game they want to play. Again, they're a finesse team. Ohio State wants to jump on you early, get to a big lead, and wear you out. That's Ohio State. Tennessee is the opposite. Tennessee is similar to Michigan, but just better. So I think this stylistically, it's a bad matchup for Ohio State. Trust me. But Tennessee does have a freshman quarterback going on the road. Very hostile environment at night. On top of that, it's going to be cold. Not saying Tennessee is Florida. We know that it gets cold. So, I mean, not saying these players are going to be affected by it, but it does play a factor because, once you start getting hit, you start saying, ooh, I don't want to go through there. So it's going to be.
Who are the refs for what league refs this game?
That's going to be, hopefully it's supposed to be like a conference, a crew that's from neither conference. So it has to be like the ACC or the Big 12. So we'll see who the crew is going to be. Yeah. But I don't trust two things here, gentlemen. Three things. One, the makeshift O-line of Ohio State. Right? Going up against a top-tier D-line. Will Howard. I don't know why OSU. I said it. I said it was good. Nick Saban Jr. I said it from the rip, bro. Will Howard is not that guy. I think we're going to see. And then you got Ryan Day. I don't want to hear, but look at his record. He's an excellent coach. But let's look at his record when he plays elite talent. He's under 500. If he's so elite, why he's not beating these elite guys? That's why they call him the Michael Jordan of James Franklin. That's why he is. So the bottom line is this, man. Ohio State can't win this game. I'm not saying they can't. I think Tennessee is gonna get it done. I think Michigan has broke Ohio State. They could say whatever they want. The 21st is gonna show, and I like Tennessee about 21-17.
I think I've been on the Nico bandwagon since last year. I think he's going to. This is going to be one of his breakout games, and he's going to upset the Buckeyes worse than we did.
Yeah. So go through all the games real quick, Kinetic. Who you like and how? Just the first round games.
I mean, so I'm not really confident in Texas, but since I picked them, now obviously this can't happen because they're on the same side of the bracket with Oregon now. But I originally picked Texas and Oregon in the Natty, so I try to stay consistent with my picks. I'm going to pick Texas over Clemson. Not sure how I'm going to have to see that performance to see how I feel about them beating Arizona State. But as of right now, I'm still going to be consistent that Oregon's going to meet Texas in the playoffs. It's just going to be in the semifinals instead of the finals. Like I said, I think Nico has a breakout game and wins in Columbus. I think that there's more turmoil in the Ohio State locker room than what we're being led to believe after the Michigan win there. I think that Ryan Day is gone after he loses to Tennessee. I think that OSU's next head coach is going to be the head coach that beats Indiana in the first round of the playoffs. I think Notre Dame is going to beat Indiana. I just think Indiana, like you said, is a finesse team, and they don't have the talent to match up with Notre Dame, just like they didn't really have the talent to match up with Michigan. If we had played like we're playing now after a bye week with Indiana, we would have stomped Indiana. We didn't. We just decided not to turn it on until the second half of the Indiana game. They couldn't even compete with OSU. They're not going to compete with Notre Dame. So I do think Notre Dame wins there. And like I said, I'm going to predict my what do they call it? Bracket buster is going to be SMU upsetting Penn State and going on to lose to Ashton Genty.
Ain't no way that's going to happen.
And Genty is going to secure the Heisman with a generational performance against the SMU Mustangs.
No, it's going to be, they're going to announce it. They announcing the Heisman on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
So,
I thought they said that he had one more game before the Heisman.
No, this Saturday. 8 p.m.
Let me go through this really quick. First round, I'm changing my pick to Texas to beat Clemson.
Yeah.
I'm
Good
changing
guy.
that. Yeah.
Good guy.
I will bet on Clemson to cover that 11-point spread.
I could see that.
Brewers or Manning are starting.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be Quinn.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They'll beat Clemson. And then the other state in Tennessee. I don't want to do this, but I do think the other state is going to win that game close at home. Penn State.
That O-line
9 points isn't enough. They're going to beat this team by double digits. They're going to move on. Notre Dame is going to blow the doors off of Indiana. They'll move on. That's how I feel about the first round. Let us know who had the best first round picks. It's clearly me, but let me know. Ripstar says stop betting.
You're just going chalk with every team. I mean, you can't just pick the favorites and be like, I did the best bracket. Come on now.
No,
I didn't just pick the favorites. I picked blowouts. I picked Penn State to blow the doors off of SMU. Yeah. They're going to cover. Yeah. Let me go back. Penn State's going to more than cover this spread, and Notre Dame's going to more than cover that spread. Clemson is going to cover that spread
for the games.
Huh?
Every one of your picks are the favorites to win the game.
Yeah, but we're talking. But I'm doubling down on not just picking the favorite, but now the spread. I'm saying that Clemson's going to cover the Texas spread. I'm saying that Ohio State won't cover that spread.
But they will. But they're gonna win.
In a
But
March
they're going to
Madness
win.
pool.
Yeah.
All right. Nah. Yeah. I got the only. I think Texas. I think Texas beats. I think they're gonna cover the spread against Clemson. Like I said, I think Penn State probably just covers, or maybe not. I think that's a game where James Franklin could show us why he's so great at losing, right?
Bro,
It
and
just
this is the
it
other
could be a
thing.
lot of
James
pressure.
Franklin doesn't James Franklin in these games. James
I know
Franklin,
you're
James
right. No,
Franklin
dude. But you're
against
right.
the good
But
teams.
Madman, you're 100% correct regarding that. But this is a playoff game. There's no tomorrow. So I'm gonna kind of put that game in that same realm because this is a do or die game and it's at home. So he must win. He better win, or it's gonna be bad
Didn't
for
James
him.
Franklin block a field goal against OSU one year to win the joint?
Bro, that was his greatest season of all time. In fact, the reason Ohio State got into the damn Big Ten championship is because we beat Penn State early in that season. In fact,
Right.
we cooked their ass. We beat them like 45-10. But yeah,
Somebody
man,
said McCarthy is cringe. What are we talking about?
Brady
Burks,
is.
what are we
It's just
saying?
Burks being a hater. That's all it is. It's just
No,
Burks
yeah,
being a
Burks.
hater.
Yeah, Burks. Yeah, Burks. That's my man, Burks. He don't
He
like
said-
JJ for nothing.
He said Brady and McCarthy are clowns, and he doesn't support clowns, even if they're
It's okay.
alumni.
Listen,
And then
you gotta
I
everyone.
called him on it, and so he backtracked and said McCarthy's not a clown. He's
It's all right. Listen, he has to. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, man. At the end of the day, JJ brought us the natty,
How about
and that's
this?
all that matters.
Wins at OSU. By the way, Burks, me and you are on the same page on a couple things as it refers to Tom Brady. But since Tom Brady is retired, he's the GOAT.
Burks has or Moose has it right on Burks in that comment.
And anything that Tom Brady does for Michigan at this point is gold. Burks got an autograph rejected by JJ.
Damn, Burks,
Hey, yo,
it was
you
like
guys
that.
are crazy.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Chat is insane.
It's
too
always
late for
insane.
this.
It's always insane. There's a mosh pit in there.
Exactly, bro.
I'm telling you, man. But I mean, listen, man. I'm expecting some good games. Now, what is the status on Carson Beck? Is he out for the remainder of the playoffs? Because if he is, that's a game changer.
Listen, Georgia better hope he's out for the remainder.
Well, I
of the
haven't
playoffs.
heard that he's out, but he injured his UCL, which is the same injury that Jack Tuttle has had for the last 2 years, and that made him retire. It's in his right elbow, his throwing arm.
Kinetic, stop it.
Torn UCL. What are you talking about?
Jack Tuttle retired because Jack Tuttle wasn't good at football.
No, he wasn't bad. He wasn't what he was after the injury.
No.
Kinetic
torn UCL is
before
a really
he was a
hard
Michigan
injury to come back.
Wolverine. He wasn't good.
Kinetic.
Torn UCL is a really hard injury for a quarterback.
There's no doubt. I'm not contending that.
Jack Tuttle is gonna be the supervisor of the shoe department in Macy's. That's it. Let's keep it like that. He could throw boxes to his employees.
I didn't go that far. I didn't say that.
Come on, Kinetic. I usually agree with you.
To
Tuttle,
his football acumen.
Tuttle was bad. He's a good guy. We're not talking about.
Right.
We're not talking about his personality. We're not attacking him.
I'm not saying he's an all-star quarterback. What I'm saying is, if his UCL had healed correctly from the surgery, which is the issue here, if it had actually healed properly after the surgery and his arm was back to full strength, we wouldn't have lost that. What was the second game? Illinois. We wouldn't have lost against Illinois.
Why not?
Because he wouldn't have had that fumble, and his throws wouldn't have been the deep throws wouldn't have been off target.
Bro, are you blaming the fumble on the UCL?
The UCL affects your grip and ability to throw the ball. Yes.
Let me pose another question.
Especially with a damaged one that
let me pose a different question here. If he had an injured UCL this season, why did he come back to play football? By the way, in his retirement speech, he blamed concussions.
Well, that's also something that happened to him. But what I'm saying
not
is,
UCL.
He didn't mention has been an injury at all. The UCL was injured either at the beginning of last season or in the off season prior. He had the surgery, and it's been documented.
By who?
I don't remember. I've read it in multiple.
What they say? Would they say it was still hurt?
The UCL surgery happened sometime early last season. The surgery happened. He tried to come back from it all last year, and he kept getting setback after setback after setback.
Right.
Going into spring camp, it was a setback. Going into fall camp, it was a setback. Going into the season, it was a setback. And the setback was because the injury, the surgery. I'm not going to say it was botched, but it didn't heal properly.
You saying Jim Harbaugh performed the surgery?
I don't know about that, but
listen. The bottom line, listen. Let's not waste too much time on Tuttle because this is not. He had his opportunity, and we saw why he did with that. So anyway, moving along.
No, but yes.
Bonafide scrub. He can't play.
It is what it is, man. We gotta call it like it is, man. Listen, man. Jack Tuttle, that was just embarrassing.
Turnover.
But anyway, look.
By the way, I said I'm gonna stop this. I'm not talking bad about these players anymore. Although in the case of Jack Tuttle, he's like my age.
Then stop talking bad about Tom Brady.
Listen,
Tom Brady's a grown ass man. What are we talking about?
He's still a Wolverine player.
What does that mean?
He's a
what
legend.
Does that mean? Hold on. You said because people went to Michigan that they are just off limits forever?
They're Wolverines for life, man.
Bro. That's fine.
So what?
Listen, man.
If he did some bad, he did some bad.
And especially
he also did a lot of good.
Madman, listen, Madman is a Raider fan. He has every bit. He has every bit to dislike Tom Brady. He has
to disparage Tom Brady.
Yeah. I'm fine,
we can't set that precedent because then that's excusing Burks for having a problem with JJ simply
that's
because
fine,
he went to
but
a better team, and he knows that JJ is going to beat his team for the next 10 years.
Who's Burks' team? Who's Burks' team?
The Packers.
Oh, Green Bay. That's my other boy. Now the Packers
because he went to the Vikings.
He should have a problem with JJ then.
Yeah,
bro, I can like you for what you did at Michigan.
Support our guys when they're at Michigan and then suddenly stop supporting them when they leave Michigan. Like,
bro, that makes no sense. We have no emotional connection anymore. Our ties are severed.
I saw in the chat Taze the Kane, and he had me laughing. He said Jack Tuttle got more rings than Jack Sawyer. Yo, Taze the Kane. He came from the top rope.
JJ McCarthy might be the greatest Michigan quarterback of all time.
Bro, we not even here to really debate that.
Yeah, unless all I'm saying is when we got players at Michigan, I support them when they go to the next level. I support our guys through their careers, not just while they're on the team that I like.
Now listen. When I said our ties are severed, I was just joking. Obviously, I want to see all the Michigan players do great, right? That said, if you go, I'm a Raiders fan. All right. It's hard for me this year rooting for Jim Harbaugh. You understand? If the Raiders were any semblance of a good football team, I would not be rooting for Jim Harbaugh. Let me tell you that right now. If you go to my division, especially, we aren't friends until you retire. Tom Brady retired. Now he can be okay. When Tom Brady was playing professional football, though, every fiber of my being hated his existence.
See, I don't agree with that. I'm a Vikings fan, and I absolutely cheer on Aiden Hutchinson every game he's out there.
Yeah, no,
despite it
you
being
fan the way
in
you fan.
division-
You know what?
in
You know
division
what?
rival.
You know what's different about the Raiders and the Vikings? The Vikings during your lifetime didn't reach a Super Bowl. Actually, they did reach a Super Bowl. No, they didn't. What am I talking
No,
about?
they got close. And
The Vikings
Never.
during your lifetime never reached the Super Bowl. The Vikings during your lifetime weren't consistently at the precipice and then weren't turned away by a rule that they dusted off the rule book for. We knew it was bullshit when it took 15 minutes for them to come back.
They made it up. They made it up on the spot.
They scribbled that shit in the rule book, actually.
They can
made
win.
it up right there.
It's not a fumble.
Yeah.
Replay it down.
Clear fumble.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to get out of here, bro. It's been up a long time.
Definitely. But anyway, man, shout to everybody. Thanks for everybody tuning in, man. The chat was on fire. Shout to all you guys. Shout to everybody for the super chats, man. We really appreciate it. We'll definitely be back maybe sometime during the week, but definitely next Monday as well.
Absolutely. Tell them where they can find you guys.
Kinetic 615, every platform, anywhere you want to look up Kinetic 615. If I'm on there, you'll find me.
Yes, sir. You already know. Let me see my Bucks. Later, Bucks.
Hey, wait a damn minute, Nick. We not cool.
Nick is a Tampa fan. Okay. Yeah,
you already know, the Raiders in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was ugly. That definitely got Shabba ranks. The Boxer Maniac, D_Boxer_Maniac. Follow me on Instagram, man. And then from there, you'll get connected to everything else I'm on. And coming soon, my Michigan page. My Michigan is coming, man. So my account, excuse me. So I'll let y'all know once I'm done with that.
Follow me everywhere at Maize Madman. Till next time, you know the slogan. Stay angry.